Appreciative Library. Command Sergeant Major Perry, guests, and students, welcome and thank you for attending our ceremony.
Center, face! Take seat!
It was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918 that the fighting of World War I ended and became known as Armistice Day. In 1954, President Eisenhower signed a bill claiming this day Veterans Day. This day honors all veterans, alive or dead, who have fought to preserve the rights and freedom that we so highly prize. Today, we especially remember the veterans of the Vietnam War. Welcome home.
Today, as we celebrate these veterans, please rise and put your right hand over your heart for the presentation of the colors by Kirkwood High School. Pledge allegiance to the national anthem. And please remain standing until the color guard has exited the floor. The color guard consists of Cadet Sergeant Major Teresa Caicedo, Cadet Major Francisco Martinez, Cadet Captain Amaya Washington, and Cadet Captain Milton.
Americans, through the decades, have shown their support of our troops in many ways. Through USO programs, entertainers have performed for our troops at home and abroad. Other programs work to keep soldiers in touch with home. The Wounded Warrior Project seeks to assist those soldiers returning home with injuries they received in service to our country. At home or abroad, two themes of a soldier's mindset and duty are traditions and the thought of home. Songs of hope, prayer, and conviction have inspired many to continue the good fight.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to Kirkwood High School today as we welcome and continue the tradition of celebrating Veterans Day and to continue honoring our veterans. Our program would like to welcome Dr. Rashida Lepre as our guest speaker.
Well, good morning, Kirkwood. Don't do that. Let's try that again. Good morning, Kirkwood. How y'all doing this morning? First and foremost, I want to thank Dr. Peppard and Major Wolverton for having me. Thank you to my friend Catherine Lawson for throwing my name in the hat to be here with you this morning. And shout out to Cadet Martinez for meeting me at the door. You guys have a wonderful welcoming committee. As they said, I am Dr. Rashida Leverett. I am one of your county commissioners. We have 21 county commissioners. I am number 5. I've been in office since 2018, and it just gives me so much pleasure to be here to see what this final product looked like, because many of you don't know this, but I have walked these halls and these steps of Kirkwood High School long before you all ever got here. And how did I do that? Because the county commission is responsible for funding the school system. So we had to write the check to make sure that you all have this beautiful emphasis that we are in this morning. So I remember when these floors were not here. I remember when these bleachers were not here. I remember when none of this paint was on the wall. And I have the receipts to prove it. The pictures are still in my phone. One day I'll show them to y'all if you ask me. But I know I'm on a short time span, and I want to go ahead and get through what I need to get through, because a lot of you here in this assembly is making me nervous, because I thought I was only going to be talking to the ROTC cadets, or the oh, y'all know what I meant. I thought I was just going to be talking to the cadets. I didn't realize it was the entire school. So I'm a little nervous and a little excited to be here. I started my journey here in Clarksville, Tennessee, from the United States Army. I was in the Army from 92 to 99. I served this country because I wanted to go to school. I wanted to get a college education, and my mother did not have the money to send me to college. So me and my friend, with a vision to be college graduates, the first in our families to be college graduates, decided that the route we would go would be to join the United States Army so that we can get a GI Bill to go to college. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that story, but I also want to make sure that I give you some imparting wisdom. Now, if you look around this room, I'm getting a little older, and there's some people around this room that are getting a little older as well. And so my job and my assignment here today is to deposit into you some of the lessons that I've learned throughout these years of living on this earth. So is that okay if I do that? Are you sure? Okay, all right. And I promise I won't be before you long. I understand young people, y'all like to y'all don't like to listen to us. I don't mind telling my age. I'm 51. I got a son who don't like to listen to me either. So I'm going to go ahead and get through this. Some of the things that I want to talk to you about is leaving a leadership legacy. You do not have to be an old person to leave a legacy. You can start now leaving a legacy. And because this is Veterans Day, and I love alliteration, y'all know what alliteration is, y'all are smart. Because I love alliteration, all the words that I'm going to leave with you to build your leadership legacy is going to start with a V. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to you all about things that matter outside of what you think matter, things that are going to carry you a long way into adulthood. The first thing that you must always consider when you are building a leadership legacy is your values and your virtues. Your values and your virtues. Your values are a combination of your voyage, your vessel, and your vision. I'm going to explain that in a second. Your values and your virtues are going to be those foundational things that's going to carry you throughout life. And those of you who are in JROTC, you've heard this before, so I'm going to talk to the rest of them. Is that okay? Let's talk about your values. Things such as compassion and gratitude and patience and kindness and wisdom and generosity, loyalty, duty, honor, perseverance. Those are the things that are going to carry you well into life. Those things that hold you down, those foundational principles that you stand by, the things that you decide are right or wrong are your virtues and your values. Now, everyone's virtues and values are not the same. So you must be connected to people who have the same values and virtues so that you can have partnerships to move on through life. Some of the things that I value is kindness. If a person is unkind, I don't roll with them. If a person treats someone in a restaurant unkindly, they are no longer my friend. My cutoff game is strong. I don't tolerate unkind people. That's one of my virtues, and that's one of my values. What are yours? Next thing you must consider in your leadership legacy is your vision. Your vision is all about what do you see for your future and how are you going to get there. My favorite book says, write the vision and make it plain. It also says that people perish because they have no vision. Where do you want to go? Because that's part of the legacy. I want you to be able to be a visionary leader. Visionary leaders say what they see until they see what they said. I'll say it again. Visionary leaders say what they see until they see what they said. What is your vision? I don't care if you gotta go old school and get some magazines and cut out pictures of where you wanna go. Write down where you wanna go. Go on Instagram, go on Pinterest, and make you a picture board. But where do you wanna go? Where's your vision? Because without a vision, the people perish. And I don't want any of you to perish. I want you to have long life, and I want you to have life more abundantly, but you have to have a vision, and you have to have a direction on what you go. Speak what you see until you've made it. Your values and your virtues and your vision should be the motivation for you to do the next thing, which is, come on, remarkable. Using your voice. Your voice is the message inside of you that you need to speak about. What issues are you going to speak up for? What concerns are you going to voice? What are the conversations that need to be had in your life that will contribute to humanity? What do you need to speak up? Who do you need to speak up for? Ask yourself, am I brave enough to be vocal? Am I brave enough to speak out? Am I brave enough to assert myself? I want to let you know right now, Kirkwood, you are a messenger. And messengers have messages. And we use our messages when we use our voice. I need you to have a voice. When I was growing up at an age long time ago, my grandmother used to tell me, young people need to be seen and not heard. As I've gotten older, I realized that that wasn't always true. Not only do you need to be seen, but you also need to be heard. So use your voice in a way where you can speak up as a leader because not only do I want you to be a leader, I want you all to be a thought leader. And thought leaders lead thought. So we've dealt with your values and your virtue. We've dealt with your voice. Now let's go ahead to our next. Now I want to talk about your vessel. Your vessel is your outer shell. Your vessel is your presence. What do people think about you when you walk in the room? What does your presence say? When you walk in the room, does your presence say, I don't feel confident? Does your presence say, I don't belong here? Or when you walk in the room, do you say, oh, I know I'm looking good today. Do y'all see what I'm wearing? Oh man, my presence is all of that. Watch me walk. What does your presence say? That's your vessel. How do you hold yourself? How do you see yourself when you walk in the room? Do you know that even what you wear is communication? People size you up even by what you have on. So what is your vessel communicating? That's a part of your leadership legacy. What do people say when you enter a room? The next is your voyage. Your voyage is the path that you decide to take in life. Your voyage is what you consider and you ponder these questions based on your vision, based on your values, based on your vessel, based on your virtues. Where do I want to go and how am I going to get there? That's your voyage. How do I move? What are things I want to see? What do I want to do? What positions do I find interest in? Your voyage is your path, and it influences your decisions. Next to the last is your vocation. My favorite book tells me to walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you have been called. What's the vocation that you choose as a leader? What assignments do you feel you're being called to? Are you being called to the trades? Are you being called to entrepreneurship? Are you being called to government work? Are you being called to education? Are you being called to family, to religion? What vocation have you been called to? Whatever that vocation is, you must walk worthy of it, because people will remember your leadership legacy by your values, your vision, your vessel, your vocation, all of the things that I just said. And now let me wrap this up. I want to talk about your volunteerism. When you leave a leadership legacy, your volunteerism is about the service that you give to others that is unpaid. Who are you going to serve as you get older? I sit on several boards of nonprofits. My favorite one is Habitat for Humanity. Why? Because housing is important to me. Who are you going to serve who cannot pay you back? Now, when you leave your leadership legacy, again, it is based off of your virtues, your values, your vision, your vessel, your vocation, and your voice. When you do all of that, you can now leave a legacy of power, a legacy of pride, and a legacy of love and kindness to others. I will close with this. My favorite book has a man in there named Paul. And Paul is a mentor. And Paul mentors this young man named Timothy, who's his mentee. And here is what Paul tells Timothy, his mentee and mentor relationship. He says, do not let anyone put you down because you are young. Teach people with your very life. By your words, by your demeanor, by your love, by your faith, and by your integrity. Stay on your post. Study your craft. Learn everything that you can, and then teach it to others. You have a unique gift, and that gift was given to you by me, your mentor, who imparted those things into you. Stay wise and hold on to that wisdom. Immerse yourself in it. Become a master student of it. Have a firm grasp on your vocation, on your character. Don't be diverted or distracted by their words. Both you and the people you serve will benefit from your behavior. And so, Kirkwood, I want you all to consider me your Paul as I consider you all my Timothy. And your legacy will live on through your virtue, your values, your voice, your vessel, your voyage, your vocation, and your volunteerism. Kirkwood High School, thank you so much. It has been my pleasure to be with you all today.
Thank you for today, attending our ceremony, and for your words of wisdom. We'd like to present. We would like to thank and honor our veterans who continue to give to their country through the education and support of their students here at Kirkwood High School. As I call your name, please rise and be acknowledged in the Army. Candy Favorite, Amanda Santos, Joanna O'Donnell, Jason Beaverton, Neil Smith, Chris Montjoy, David Song, Nick Wolfer, Marquita Brooke, Rick Yager, Misty Kuntz, Regina Loud, Matthew Wolverton, and Clarence Johnson. Those of you in our audience, if you're retired from, currently serving in, or a parent, a spouse, or dependent of someone in the military, will you please stand and be recognized as we play the theme from your branch of service.
the United States Marine Corps. United States Coast Guard.
Media during wartime and conflicts report on these experiences and keep us informed. They also report on the casualties and those missing in action. Soldiers that served and returned home return a changed person with a different perspective on many things. A perspective that remains the same is respect for the United States of America and its ideals. Remember that we are strongest when we are united, even in the face of adversity, and that no one lost will be forgotten. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the table in front of me. We ask that you remain seated, yet silent, as we conduct the POW MIA ceremony. This ceremony is rich with military tradition as we honor those men and women of our armed forces who, in defense of the freedoms of our country and that of the free world, are unaccounted for and are classified as prisoners of war or missing in action.
No soldiers choose to die. It's what they risk by being who and where they are. It's what they dare while saving someone else whose life means suddenly as much to them as theirs, or more. To honor them, why speak of duty or the will of governments? Think first of love each time you tell their story. It gives their sacrifice a name and takes from more of its glory.
They are not with us today. Their chairs are empty, awaiting their return. Remember their absence. Remember the United States Air Force, honored by Cadet Private Hunter Hanford. Remember the United States Army, honored by Cadet Master Sergeant Dakota Farron. Remember the United States Navy, honored by Cadet Corporal Kaya Jeffries. Remember the United States Marine Corps, honored by Cadet Private Nora Hernandez Henley. Remember the prisoners of war from all branches of service that are forgotten far too often. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children could remain free. Remember the candles, They symbolize the frailty of a lonely prisoner standing up against their own oppressors. Remember the smaller vases on the table. It symbolizes those dear to them, but they worked hard to protect. Remember the black ribbons on the small vases. It reminds us of those who will not be coming home. Remember the single red rose. It reminds us of the loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep faith and await their return. Remember the slice of lemon on the plate. It reminds us of their bitter fate if we do not bring them home. Remember the salt. It symbolizes the tears shed by the prisoners' loved ones. Remember, the glasses are inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. The faded pictures on the table are a reminder that they are missed very much and are remembered by their families. Remember, as we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. Remember those whom we depend on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them.
Battalion, attention! Present arms!
Before we end the program, we'd like to thank parents, veterans, administration, faculty, staff, students, band, choir, and JRTC for making this Veterans Day program very special. If you know a present or former service member, thank them for helping to keep America safe. Students, if you have family members who are currently in the military, please know that conflicts and deployments continue. The thoughts and prayers of Kirkwood High School are with you.